Hello guys, and welcome to the second video in the Amazon pay-per-click experiment. In the first video I kind of walked you through the introduction to this experiment, what to expect, and just overall just set it up for you guys. In this video we're going to be diving into the first part of this experiment, which is going to be how to validate your listing with Amazon using Amazon pay-per-click. So just a little quick recap. There are four steps to this experiment. First step is validation. This is where we're at right now. Second step is to collect data. Third step is to test and optimize converting search terms from step 2. Fourth step is to continue to optimize campaigns for the best return on investment. We are only focusing on the first step right now, which is validating our listing. So kind of a recap of what I've done since the last update, or since the introduction to this experiment. So I ran a 3-day auto campaign to validate my listing. Now when I say validate my listing, I mean we are just running an automatic campaign with Amazon, and we are looking at the data, and we're looking at what keywords Amazon automatically picked for our ad to be shown in front of certain keywords. So we want to make sure that Amazon understands what our product is about by looking at the title, the backend search terms, and we know if they are looking at our listing correctly if they show our product or our ads in front of relevant search terms to our product. So I'll dive more into this in a little bit when I actually go look at the Excel file and look at all the data, but I just kind of want to explain it to you really quick. So the campaign settings that I had for this 3-day auto campaign was that it was an automatic campaign. I had a daily budget of $25, a maximum bid of $1.25, and I ran it for 3 days. Now, I knew for a fact that obviously automatic campaign, and I wanted to run it for 3 days. Those are two things I knew for a fact. But the daily budget and the maximum bid were two things that I didn't guess on, but I just used my best judgment to pick those amounts. And I don't know if those were the best amounts to choose, but it did turn out okay. My campaign turned out pretty good. So I think that the daily budget of $25 and the maximum bid of $1.25 is a good starting point for to use as your 3-day automatic campaign when you're validating your listings. So here are the results from this 3-day auto campaign. As you can see, I spent $74. I made close to $260 in sales, and my ACoS was 29%, which is actually really good. And actually, I made a $36 profit from this campaign. I'm not going to run through all the numbers and how I got this number, but if you go check out the post that's on my site, you can see how I calculated all the numbers, expenses, revenue, and all that kind of stuff to get to this $36 profit. But I was actually really, really happy about this $36 profit, because the main point of this campaign, this 3-day auto campaign, is to validate the listing. I don't care if I lose $100. I don't care if I make $100. I don't care about the profits of this campaign. The main thing I want to do is just validate my listing. So the fact that I made $36 and validated my listing is kind of a win-win situation. So I'm pretty happy about that. So the main question, obviously, the whole point of this video is saying, was my listing validated? Was I able to validate my listing? And if so, how did I do it? So that's what we're going to be doing when we hop over to the Excel file and look at all the raw data from this 3-day auto campaign. So let's check out the data and find out what we have. Okay guys, here we are in the Excel file with all of the data from the 3-day auto campaign. And if you're wondering how I got the data from Amazon into Excel, you can check out the article on my site as I walk you through how to download the correct search term report and how to upload it into Excel so you can look at all this data that I'm looking at right here from your campaign. So I'm not going to get into that, but what I'm going to do is just kind of take a look through this data, explain how I was able to validate my listing, and just some other cool things that I noticed about all this information that I was able to gather in my 3-day campaign. So first of all, before we get started, I just want to say that I took out the names of the keywords. So I took out the actual keywords from right here and just replaced them with keyword 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just numbered these keywords so that I can keep my actual keywords hidden, but you can still kind of get the full use of looking at all this data. So I just want to explain that really quick. So the first thing that you want to do when you're validating your listing is come over here to impressions and sort the impressions from largest to smallest. So once you sort them from largest to smallest, you want to take a look at the top 10 keywords with the most impressions. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10. So I just like, here, I actually go like this. I think that's 10 keywords. So what I like to do is I just like to come up here, where is it, and just highlight them green, because these are the 10 keywords with the most impressions. So what we're going to be doing is looking at these 10 keywords right here and determining if these 10 keywords are relevant to our product listing. So obviously it's kind of hard to tell with my keywords are keyword 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but I was able, let me just tell you that all 10 of these keywords were relevant to my product listing. So every single one of these keywords are somewhat related or relevant to my actual product listing, which is a good thing, because that tells me that Amazon has scanned my product listing, the title, the backend search terms, and determined that these keywords right here were the most relevant for my product listing. So this tells us that Amazon understands what our product is about and the type of ads and keywords that we want to be shown for when people search. So once we determine that Amazon has validated our listing correctly, we can move on to the next step of collecting more data. And I'll get to that in a second, but I just want to kind of explain that you look at the top 10 impressions and the keywords for the most impressions and see if these keywords are related to your listing. If you can do that, you have now validated your listing, and you know Amazon is on the same page as you in terms of what your product listing is about. Okay, so now that we kind of covered the main subject of validating our listing, I want to just take a quick look at all this data that I was able to collect in the first 3-day auto campaign. So as we can see, these are the keywords with the most impressions. This one right here had over 17,000 impressions. Actually, the top two, 17,000 and 14,000, are obviously the biggest two keywords in terms of impressions for this campaign. I mean, right here, this is 31,000 impressions from the top two, and I don't even think the rest of the top 8 have over 32,000 impressions. So a lot of the whole amount of impressions were from these first two keywords, which is kind of a I don't know how important that is, but it's just something to note. So let's see. Let's take a look at the orders placed and see what kind of things we're looking at. Okay, so there wasn't any keywords with more than one order placed, but there were 11 keywords that had at least one sale. And it's kind of funny to see that, let's see, 7 of these keywords that had a sale, 7 out of the 11 keywords that had a sale were not one of the top 10 keywords that had the most impressions. As you can see, look at these impressions that all had the sale: 700, 500, 200, 200, 100, 41, 25. So this is kind of interesting to see, because with only 25 impressions and 1 click, I was able to make 1 sale for a conversion rate of 100%. And look how many, I had 4 listings or 4 keywords that converted at 100%. And obviously there's not enough data to kind of confirm what's going on here just because there's 1 click and 1 sale, but it's still pretty interesting to see the fact that 1 person clicked through and 1 person bought it. That's a pretty high conversion rate. And same with this, so 2 clicks with this keyword right here, 2 clicks and 1 sale, so I had a conversion rate of 50%. So this is all kind of interesting data to look at when in your own Excel file. And then another thing I want to look at is look at these ACoS percentages. I mean, 4%, 6%, 3%, 6%, 6%, 8%, 4%. Those are extremely low percentages. And like I said, we don't have enough data to really understand these percentages at this point. But it could lead us to believe that these keywords right here may not get the most searches, the most impressions, but they could be extremely high converting search terms for our product. So we'll learn more after we collect more data, but these keywords right here could be keywords that we might want to throw into an exact match campaign and ramp up the daily budget and kind of see what these keywords can provide to our product. I mean, we could get some insane conversion rates, some insane percentages in the ACoS, and make a lot of profit with these keywords right here, potentially, based on this kind of premature data that we have so far. So that's kind of interesting to see how a lot of these keywords don't have a lot of impressions, but they're converting very well. So that's something to note as we start to collect more data and move further on into the testing phases. So let's see what keywords spent the most. So look at this one. This one only had 6 clicks, 600 impressions but spent the third most at a cost per click of 90% and didn't make a sale. So this might not be the best keyword right here, because look, no sales, high cost per click. Let's see, the click-through rate's actually pretty good, almost 95%, not 95%, almost 1% click-through rate, my bad. So that is kind of interesting to look at. And guys, I'm just going on the fly right here, just looking at kind of interesting data that is coming across as I'm looking at it. So forgive me if I'm kind of just rambling on here, but I think looking at all your data and seeing what keywords working, what keywords don't, and kind of finding the hidden keywords that you might not think convert well, but then you actually, after looking at the data, you're like, wow, that keyword is converting better than a keyword I thought would convert, but it's really just cost me a lot of money for that ad spend. So I mean, looking through your data and kind of really understanding how you got this data, where it came from, and how you can utilize it is really important. So that's kind of why I'm just looking through this data and just kind of explaining my thoughts on it as I carry on. So I'm sorry if this is not entertaining to you or if you're not learning anything, but I kind of think it's important to know that looking at all your data is crucial to optimizing and testing your campaign down the road. So we're just looking here at the click-through rate, the keywords that had the highest click-through rate, and see these right here, all these impressions don't even have over 10 impressions in a click. These are kind of invalid just because there's not enough data. Like, who knows what these keywords could do. But once you get up to like even these right here, a little bit too low, but right here and on is kind of interesting because we can see that 41 impressions had a two. I mean, even there's really not enough data to really understand what's going on here, because I mean, like, only one click. 6 clicks is pretty interesting. So this is actually interesting. It has a pretty high click-through rate, a lot of enough impressions to kind of get a good idea what's going on, enough clicks to see what's going on. So 6 clicks through 600 impressions, no sales, but it could be something to look at later on because it has a pretty decent click-through rate. So whatever keyword this is, obviously the people searching for this keyword are happy with or are interested in my product because they have a pretty high click-through rate when they search for this keyword. So that's something to note. Same thing with all of these in the 80, 90%. All these keywords right here could be something to look at. And the fact that, all right, look at this one right here. Keyword number 30. Only 100 impressions, only 1 click, had a 94% click-through ratio. But you can see that it made a sale right here. So that's kind of interesting. So maybe this keyword right here doesn't have a ton of searches for it, but it could be high converting keyword later on down the road. If we threw a little more ad budget at it and see what happens, maybe we could find a kind of like a hidden gem keyword from there. So I could keep going through this probably for another half an hour and just looking at all this data, but I feel like it's kind of a waste of time just because we don't have enough data to work with, and that's kind of where we're going to be going with the next part of this experiment. We're going to be collecting more data. We're going to be running a 7 to 10 day auto campaign to collect a bunch of data that we can use to then test and optimize converting search terms. So once after we run that 7 to 10 day auto campaign, we will have a lot more data to work with and a lot more information to base our decisions off of. So I'm going to wrap up this video and I'm going to wrap up this, we're looking through this Excel file. But guys, I'm going to bring this all the way back around to where we started, and I want to say that the main point of this 3-day auto campaign is to validate our listing. So upload your data into Excel, sort the impressions from largest to smallest, and look at the top 10 keywords and see if those are relevant to your product listing. If they are, then you can move on to the next step, which is running the 7 to 10 day auto campaign to collect more data. So that's kind of the main thing with this, but I just want to take a look at all the other data just to see what's going on and kind of explain my thoughts to you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to read the full article update on my website. I typed up probably 1,500 words on the new update explaining all types of cool stuff that you want to check on over there that I didn't touch on in this video. And thank you all for watching. Make sure to be on the lookout for the next update, which will be out in a week or two after I run my next auto campaign for around a week, around 7 to 10 days. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you all for watching, and if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. Thanks, guys.